Hello, hello, and welcome everyone to this week on Magnet Marketers, where we help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. I'm one of your hosts here, Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group in the Relationship Marketing System. Help you create repeat referral business with your ideal audience. And my awesome co-host, Mike Gingrich of Digital Hill, co-founder of the popular app TabSite and the Halftime Mike podcast. He always lives and breathes by the philosophy of always being uncommon and always adding value. Mike, I keep forgetting I need to add that other notch to your belt, the Waftio app that is up and
rolling out some new software tools. So yeah, Waftio is now in the mix.
Oh, yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about that today as we dive into the state of lead generation industry report. So this was a report that just came out on all things lead generation, kind of surveying some companies, talking about what's working, what's not working, what companies need to double down on, and where they need to primarily focus their efforts and their talents. So Mike, did you have a chance to go through this full report too?
Man, there's a lot of stuff in there, so I don't feel like I've digested it all at this point in time. I think that it's rich and it requires you to stop and thoroughly go through. And I haven't finished everything that I need to yet.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of information in there. There's lots of little notes and highlights. My pink highlighter here saying focus on this, and a lot of things that I think we anticipated just with what all has been going on in the world of social media and internet marketing as a whole, kind of what people are buzzing about, proves true that it's working. So I want to go through kind of a few of the bullets on the things that are working. And really talk about why we think that it's working, and then kind of future forecasting. Sound good?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. So the 5 key takeaways that are mentioned in this report, and I'm just going to read them verbatim if that's okay.
Yeah.
But it said that 83% of marketers say increasing the quality of their leads is the number one priority. We mentioned this. I went back and I replayed a video that was kind of at the beginning of the year, and we talked about that. We said quality over quantity with all things, content, social, everything, quality over quantity. And that is the number one thing that I think all marketers are focused on, and business owners, and businesses that are focusing on getting leads. It's not that they need more leads, they need quality leads.
Yeah.
Quality good leads. So that's the number one takeaway of this report. And we'll talk about what's working for them to get that. The second key takeaway is that 67% of marketers will increase their lead and demand generation budgets this year.
2/3.
Yeah, that's huge. They figured out this online inbound relationship marketing thing is working for us to get those quality leads. We've seen a very small percentage kind of allocated to those efforts, and still doing some of the traditional marketing mix. Not that that's not working to drive leads, but they want to focus their efforts and their dollars where they're getting the quality leads, and this is what's working. The third, which one I highlighted and circled that I think is really key here, is that organic website traffic accounts for the highest percentage of the high quality leads. Organic traffic, because why is it? People are searching for what their problems are and they're finding their ideal match.
Yeah.
So they're already on this journey. They're finding it when they're needing it. So that's huge. Webinars and white papers remain the most effective source for driving quality leads. Again, it's building that know, like, and trust relationship. And what's this all about? Becoming a magnet with your marketing, like we talk about. Becoming a magnet, drawing people into you with things that you can add of value, focus on that serving approach versus selling, and you're going to get those high quality leads. The fifth thing is a lack of resource accounts for the biggest obstacle for successful lead generation. We've talked about this too. It's having those resources on your website, one, so having the resources for your clients, but also having the resources within your own organization. So, things that businesses know are working that they need to do, but they just don't have the resources to complete it. So maybe they don't have an in-house social media team or designer or web team or all the things that they need to complete specific projects. So that's when it comes a time where you have to be smart about outsourcing and knowing what to look for. So we did have a few videos even on Magnet Marketers where we've talked about questions to ask. We brought in some people that have went through that process recently and kind of what it was like for them to find their successful match. Those kinds of things, if you're doubling down on that, if you don't have the resources in-house, outsourcing is when it's going to be appropriate and how you can do that wisely.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think just taking a look at those 5 that, number 4 stood out to me, the webinars and white papers. So, webinars, how many people are using webinars? I mean, this is a form of a webinar, live events. And so that's really grown this year. But it's, an opportunity. And the white papers also could be, the ebooks kind of fit in that category. And I think that, again, when you think of an ebook, when you think of a white paper, you need to be thinking about a resource, okay? So that's some type of resource, whether it was like this report or whether it's something, related to your industry, buyer's guide, industry guide, those types of things. What's some type of resource? So that one really jumped out at me as well, that those were the, 2 most effective for driving quality leads. Everybody wants more quality leads. They want to increase the quality of that, and they're willing to spend their budget on that. So there's a sense of, hey, we've seen some things, we believe it's there, we got to sharpen this and ramp this up better.
Exactly. Yep. And they're building it on their home base. So that was one thing I thought was very interesting about driving that lead generation to getting the quality leads, is that they're building it right there within their home base and then pushing it out, which is what I felt was very, very interesting. So they went over into this report after talking about those 5 key areas to really focus on and doubling down over the next year and what's really working. But they said only 8% of marketers say that they're going to decrease in this area of spending because it's what's working to bring those quality leads. So and that 39% of marketers surveyed said that they're actually going to increase their budget on inbound marketing tactics by over 20%. Because that's how much that they believe that it's working. That's a huge percentage when you think about it.
No, absolutely. So that's the most significant piece of that 67% of that 2/3 that wanted to say, hey, we're going to increase it. Of that pie, 39%, we're going to go 20% or more. So that was the biggest percentage of that. So, again, just shows that there's motivation. They want to ramp up. They want to go. They want to improve in lead generation. And this is the data. This is what we're living in.
Exactly. So they said that we talked about the lead quality being the number 1 priority. 83% of marketers and businesses surveyed said that is their number 1 top priority, is increasing the quality of their leads. 83% said that. 71% said improving their campaign results. So they have the campaigns going on, but they just want to improve the results of what's already working and in the works. 61% said improving sales and marketing alignment, that their sales and their marketing teams aren't really talking together and they don't have this clear picture of what is marketing doing that's increasing the sales, specifically having those aligned.
Yeah. Well, hey, Bob, we just stop right there for a second.
Yeah.
Just a quick side point. And that is, I remember this was a couple years ago where Marcus shared in the sales line, began to talk about this, and he was talking about how the lines were going away and the merging of marketing and sales, and how these people need to begin talking to each other. So in the big business, especially they might not be, but even in a small business, you can have your sales guys and they do sales, and then you have a marketing person, they do marketing. They can be in different spots, but these things need to flow together when we're talking about inbound lead generation marketing, because it's a direct channel right there. So your marketing and developing of that is a direct lead, that can convert, that can offer something. So there is a marrying of those two, because the marketing, the inbound, is going to generate that sales lead.
Exactly. You have to start with the end in mind. We call the marketers smarketers, thinking sales, marketing, smart, alignment. How are you going to begin with the end in mind of knowing, okay, what are we trying to get? 1, Who are we trying to get? Buyer personas, what are they wanting? Creating that material for them. How are they going to get there? What does their journey look like? And if you start kind of in reverse, the end in mind, and work your way backward, then you're going to be able to create this smart marketing campaign that is directly related to sales. That can blend the line, so to speak, where everybody is kind of working together harmoniously. And then, if there's a CRM in the mix, it really helps everyone be in communication and also just know kind of what the funnel is producing and what kinds of leads, what are those quality leads. So when you get customers that are filling out forms or potential leads that are filling out forms or going through your website, which ones are the quality leads, and you can get more of those. That's what a CRM can help do. And 57% of people said that generating increased lead volume. So meaning that they're trying to just generally overall get more leads. But again, going back to the quality leads. So here's what's working to produce those quality leads, though. So we talked about organic website traffic as being number one. That is the number one thing that's working, meaning that if that's the case, what is generating organic website visits, right? So they said 23% or 23.4% is that organic website traffic, which means searching. People are typing in, searching their domain. They're not coming directly knowing the company's name. So which means that SEO is the number one clear winner, right? That's organic traffic. That's what drives organic traffic.
The content that you have on your site.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting to. Yes, exactly. So what is generating good SEO? It's content. That's organic. And it wasn't the paid AdWords that are generating the number one. It is the organic traffic. So having a company blog and doubling down on that content is, by this industry report, the number one thing that you can do to get better quality leads and to have them coming to your website. The second is referral traffic, which was really cool to see. So aligning yourself with others, collaborating with others, getting that referral traffic in there. And social media was a good chunk of that, 11%. So social has grown quite a bit with driving traffic into websites. And they said it was different social channels for different, types of industries, which worked, which we talked about that as well. Knowing your channel, knowing your audience, where they're hanging out. But so organic with your content, number one. 2, referring, collaborating with other sites, getting, people to come into your site or you refer out to theirs, and then using social media to drive traffic back to your home base. Yep.
I think one of the stats in there as well is that surprised me was email marketing. Folks, it continues to survive. It continues to thrive. It continues to live, So, that it was at 15.8, almost 16% of this mix type of thing. And so it's still a valued method. So when you look at this piece together, it's what we've been talking about. And it's just great to have this new data that kind of backs that up, is that, what you have on your website, your home base matters. It starts with your content there, how you're generating new content, your resource center, your blog, that type of piece, that whole mix. Then there's those the ways that you're engaging with others, that the social media aspect to that, getting out there, the partnering, as you talked about. It's a relationship marketing there that drives traffic back, and then it's getting people on those email lists. Those things were the PPC was relatively small of that. that those things cannot necessarily survive on their own. When you look at all these pieces, they could be a piece of it, but it shouldn't be, the one thing that you say, oh, we're just going to do this and we're just going to, spend the dollars. And there's not too many people to do that. There's still some that will want to say, we're just going to, I don't care about the website. I'm just going to throw dollars at the PPC and get some traffic over there. But
it's not working anymore. People aren't clicking necessarily now, especially since Google removed the right-hand sidebar of the ads because it wasn't working. So now you have 2 to 3 slots at the very top of ads that can display. So it makes it really competitive, and it's ridiculous. It's like $14 a click, and it's not even your number one referrer of quality leads. So a lot of times it's, people searching for your phone number. They click the first one, they get your phone number, and you just paid $14 for that, or, whatever. So I loved the email stat, though, like you said, 15.8%. Kind of jumping ahead on this report, they said, though, the opt-in for the email, what's working is actually bringing back some of the actionable, moving kind of pop-up signups, and mix with that the actual lead generation tools via like signing up for a white paper, inbound marketing tactics.
Yeah,
getting a white paper.
That grows emails. Yeah.
So you were right in line with creating that Loftio app. So explain kind of how that works too, and we'll go through the rest of the report.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, when we created Waftio, WAFTIO, the premise was basically that one of the weakest areas on websites is lead generation and lead capture, some type of soft call to action. And so we tried to build a software, a tool that you can add to your website across all the pages or individual pages. And it gives you some tools to create this type of lead capture opportunity through, you create the app and you set it up, and you can create that pop-up app that, and you can set it so that, maybe you want it to appear after 6 seconds, or you want it to appear and have it come up on exit intent. But then, those are the things where it can come up and it's right there in front. I mean, studies have shown that the ones in the sidebar can get overlooked. So this is an action. A pop-up is an action that takes place, captures your attention, and you have to be, quick with what this resource is that you want to offer them. And so you can give them that headline, name, and email, and it integrates with a number of services, MailChimp, Infusionsoft, all those kind of pieces, so that the leads are captured there, but you can get them quickly onto your email marketing list.
Yes. And I think it's great that you have some kind of opt-in for it, like you said, email list and or an inbound kind of flow. The key is, though, doing something with that list after they sign up. So not just having kind of a sign up on your website to work these quality leads and to separate and find out which ones are quality and which aren't. So what kind of marketing generating leads? So like what is helping to generate more quality leads, should I say? And the number one thing by 61% is white papers. So it is actually having really good content that you've turned into a lead generation tool. So you have, maybe it's we create this guide on how to drive more traffic and quality leads to your website, and we have this in exchange for your email address on our website. That's the number one thing that's creating quality leads for companies, which is huge. And then the second in this lineup, by just a couple percentage points, 58%, is webinars. So things like this, getting people to sign up for free training. People are hungry for information. The more information and the good quality information that you can provide is what's going to bring you quality leads.
Yep, absolutely.
Aligning that sales and marketing team like we talked about. The third thing, which I was actually surprised by 44%, is case studies. So I think it's the new kind of testimonial as a case study.
There you go. That's a good way to describe it. But that's what it is. It's the details of that's what this client went through. This was what happened before. This was their problem. This was the solution. This is the results.
Yeah, it's getting a way of saying, what is this going to be like? What can I expect? And setting up the case studies, that's the third highest performing quality lead generator in this report. The fourth is blogging. So 32% is blogging. So no surprise there. That's what's helping drive SEO. That's what's helping, keeping in contact with your leads and keep creating those drip campaigns. So blogging is definitely up there. And then next is videos with 29%. So 29% of videos. And I think we'll start seeing this number rise now that there's more opportunities and platforms to create quality video. But videos is 29 already, which is huge. I think how companies will use this will change. I think maybe some of the webinars, instead of scheduling it, sign up and you get your information right now. via video. I think some of the white papers, instead of white papers, it may be, the video. It just depends on how people prefer to consume the content.
Yep.
And last but not least, infographics. And that comes in at 25%. So infographics, which we've seen that even in our industry in marketing, looking at companies that create like a really great infographic. For example, if this was converted into an infographic, just explode kind of overnight with people sharing it and distributing the data, because it's just really easy to read and understand, and it's something that people like to look at.
Yep. Again, visuals are important there. Yeah.
Okay, so next, which medium is giving them the highest quality leads, in conjunction with also producing sales? Again, it's their website that ranks really high, number one. So sales, number one, 23.4%. All the sales are coming from direct result from the website. Then ranks email, second in that. And then the social media. So top website, then email, then social, which is huge in there. But the website's still dominating. So even if companies aren't having e-commerce, a lot of the examples they mention on here, they are not e-commerce websites. They're just direct kind of sales funnel through an inbound process that then is having hand-raised kind of opportunity at the end saying, I'm interested in purchasing your product.
Yep. No, very interesting.
So how do you think, if I pause right here before going through some of the other stats, if we know that now that we know, the website's number one, emails number two, and then social, what should companies stop, kind of pause, think about that study? What should be their action steps to kind of getting this working in their favor of creating more sales?
Yep. Well, I think you got to look at how strong are you in these strong areas. Okay. So if your website is critical to that visitor's experience and to lead capture, so obviously you got to start with that, number one. How are you doing? And again, we know that Google's taken into effect, Bing is taken into effect whether your site is mobile friendly, and that's a factor in an algorithm. If you're wanting to be found in natural search results, so are you mobile friendly? And then again, it was talking about there was organic search results. Only way you're going to be found is if your website has some quality content, some SEO rich quality content on there. So, are you doing those pieces? I mean, you got to evaluate some of those areas that they're saying are strengths. Is that your current strength? If not, what are you going to need to do?
Exactly. And if you're not sure about your SEO, one, if you're ranking, because if you're getting traffic in, but there's a great resource. They do offer a trial, but then you can go in and subscribe and purchase a membership there that'll help you improve your SEO, or you can work with an agency or someone that specializes in it. But SEO Site Checkup will let you know kind of how you're doing today. So it'll give you a good review of what areas are you being ranked on by Google, Yahoo, Bing, and what's missing, what components. SEO or SSL, is taken into consideration now. Responsiveness is taken into consideration. If you have opt-ins and content pages, the more content pages of quality content that you have is definitely taken into consideration. Speed of site. It used to be that you could just buy any kind of template and hack job it together and make it work for you. Well, it creates more of a lag than on your site speed because there's too many things calling for something to do something else within your site, and you get dinged for that now. So clean. Just the keywords, the meta descriptions, your images and all that. There's a lot of other things that are taken into consideration now. And this SEO Site Checkup will help you know kind of where you stand and what you need to do, kind of what your action items are immediately to get that. Because this is one with ranking in at 23% that you just cannot ignore. And I do imagine this is going to keep continuing to grow.
Yep.
I honestly don't know how companies survive that have never had a website, or that don't I mean, the word of mouth is great. That'll always be the number one referrer, organically. But as our proximity and our demographic grows and, we now have more opportunities and companies at our fingertips, you have to have a website. You
Yes.
have to have this kind of stuff there.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So take a look at that, folks, and she's giving you a good tool there that you can kind of go through, see what your website, how it's performing that way, and that's not just your random thoughts on it. That's an analysis there.
Yeah, and I like what you mentioned about knowing what your strengths are. So website, definitely. The other one, though, having that opt-in, like we talked about, on your website. So making sure there's opportunities for people to sign up to your newsletter or to a webinar or to get content that you have on your site. And as they mentioned here, it doesn't even have to be like a white paper. It could be a case study. How did you help someone else? Give that information out on your site. And if people are interested in reading more of those, they could sign up to be notified. But start collecting your email addresses. That way you know who is visiting your site and you can stay in contact with them.
Yep.
And then social media, of course, ranking in there, know which sites, your customers are at, and making sure that you stay active and engaged on those social channels.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So, the generating the content, they did say, the number 2 is, again, webinars and white papers. A lot of this report focuses around creating better webinars and white papers. And it talks about, just the stats with getting quality leads is all around that. I think it's because people are able to get a deeper dive into each area that they're interested in.
Yeah.
That's huge. Okay, so what do you think is the number 1 social media channel for leads, Mike, if you had to guess?
Right.
Well,
read this. I did get that far into the report, so
okay.
But I was surprised by it, folks. I have to say that I was surprised. How about that?
Yeah. So the number 1, drum roll, social media channel that produces the best leads is LinkedIn. Hands down, 59%. Number 1 social media channel that produces quality leads is LinkedIn. And you know what? I honestly was not that surprised by it. I think that more website visits come from the other social channels. But I do think because they're basing this on the number 1 quality lead generator, it comes from LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn, they're already professionals on there, 1. Yeah. 2, you can see a lot. You can know a lot about a person by looking at their LinkedIn profile, and really when you're going to these other channels like Twitter, Facebook, all that, unless you're becoming Facebook friends with them, which most companies I'm sure aren't, just having a friend page and promoting themselves, adding everyone on to get to know someone that way. They're using their LinkedIn profile, and you can learn a lot about that person, who's validating them, who's referred them. They can feature their work there. They can add all of the things that they're saying is working on this report right on your LinkedIn profile. So it makes a lot of sense. But LinkedIn, number 1, hands down. So number 2 is Twitter.
Another surprise to me.
Yeah, 28%.
Somewhat. I mean, yeah.
Well, again, I think it's that person-to-person connection. I think most people, when they're connecting on Twitter, yeah, you have those brand pages, but really when the sales process happens, it's really, you're looking at, it's 2 people having a conversation back and forth. I use my personal Twitter channel way more than I use the Now Marketing Group channel.
Yep.
And it's really cool because you can go back and see directly. Like if I was trying to connect with you, Mike, I'm not going to go look for, your company page. I'm going to go look for you and kind of see what you're doing on Twitter, kind of who you're connected with and what kinds of things that you're sharing to get a good sense of who you are. What you're about. Number 3, reigning it at 24%, which is Facebook. Not a surprise to see them at the top. Definitely, I think Facebook is the one that people are spending the most time on.
Right.
But I do think it's because they're spending time there with a mindset of friends and family connections and hanging out, and not always have their work hat on. So they may not be thinking sales right at that moment. But I do think Facebook is, and it still is a lot for many of our website traffic reports. It says that Facebook's driving some of the most traffic to the pages. Is definitely. So it is creating leads coming in. So I do think, Facebook definitely does produce the most website traffic overall.
Yep. And I saw, there's kind of a big jump then down to 13% at YouTube, and down there at the bottom, 2% Instagram, 1% Pinterest. But Jessica, our industry always keeps talking about Snapchat. Where is Snapchat on this list? Lead generation.
No, it's not. It's just an excuse for marketers, people to do it at work. I think some of them. I think they just like having fun with it, but I am not sold on Snapchat lead generation. I am not sold on it.
No, not at this point in time.
No. All.
No.
By the way, speaking of Snapchat, did you see Instagram's new rollout today?
I have not played with it. No. Have you?
Yeah. So if you go onto your Instagram, if you guys all have Instagram on here, you go into your Instagram, you update your app, you will see it now shows up like the Snapchat stories. It is weird. I don't like it. I want the old Instagram back.
Wow.
But it's here. We gotta do a change, I guess. Like it or love it.
It's a big change. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really big change. So I found it kind of interesting because Instagram is owned by Facebook, that Facebook would take that approach. But it is not surprising in the fact that because Instagram's lost so much traffic to Snapchat. Okay. So I could see why they do that.
Want to do a little bit more of a radical update?
I have resisted Instagram up until now. Yeah, Instagram is it is a great tool. I don't spend as much time on there as the other social apps. My top two that I spend the most time on is probably, well, I would say top three is Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. But I would say during the week, it's definitely LinkedIn that I spend the most time on.
Okay. Yeah. I would say I spend decent time weekly on Instagram, but it's personal. That one for me is personal. That one doesn't flow a lot into business realms a lot at this point in time. Yeah. John, thanks for jumping in.
I was wondering, well, why have you resisted Instagram? I want to know. I think also some of these numbers here is because there's not a lot of companies that are doing this effectively. If you think about it, like YouTube, there's many businesses that don't really have, if we talk about having the resources, okay, as it went back to the very beginning of this report, having the right resources at your company, there's very few companies that I know that do have a video production team or the resources of a video production team. So unless you have quality resources for YouTube creation, it wouldn't be producing the right leads.
Right. So there's a barrier to that being a strength by how you can create those type of videos that are quality.
Same thing with Instagram and Pinterest. It's resources of having like a good photographer or the know-how of creating great images. I think that these three still have this barrier kind of entry, as it's been mentioned, or just kind of a lack of resources too, that I do think it prevents it from being a higher number. That being said, it is what it is. So, still, if you're a business, focus on then the top three that are working for you, knowing your audience.
Yep.
Yeah. So John says, I have not viewed it as a business outlet, more for personal brand. You are right. However, that being said, I am very excited with the Instagram that just rolled out business and brand pages. So if you can actually, similar to what Pinterest did a few years back after they rolled out the Pinterest where it was very much personal pages, then you can convert your Pinterest personal page to a business page. Instagram has done the same thing. So you can now convert your Instagram personal stream to a business account. So it's clearly identified that way now. And now if it is snapping through the stories and people, if you've already have a big following, now you're going to know that they are going to see your content because it's going to snap through there, whether they selected to view your stuff or not. If they're following you and they're playing in it within their story, it's going to get seen, which is a huge benefit. So I am glad that we started on Instagram a while ago and have quite a few followers because I think that's beneficial. I might have to start using some resources to put more content up there though, especially video content. But you're right. It's kind of, it is one of those outlets that is very, video, picture, visual content heavy. So depending on your industry and depending on what your angle is, like I think we mentioned this before, like ours was culture, showing the culture of Now Marketing Group, and using it as a recruiting tool. It depends on your angle on how you're going to use Instagram, how you can make it work for your business. What kind of content are you sharing on Instagram, Mike?
Again, Instagram is definitely, from a digital perspective, if we're doing events and trying to do a little bit of help videos, from my own standpoint, it's more just personal lifestyle, brand type things, who I am, what I'm about, the add value, to be uncommon. That's where you can get to know a little bit those type of pieces.
No, that's really cool. I like it.
What's Chuck got to say? Our companies have found non-slick, non-professional videos for social media have been more productive than the commercial grade. Excellent to hear. Yeah. We manufacture products in the mid 5-figure to mid 6-figure price range. Excellent. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. With social media, has changed that divide. It's good to hear another company say that's what's doing it for us.
Yeah. We talked about that on a couple episodes ago, where the rules changed now. On YouTube, I still think that there's that perception you have to have good quality, but everywhere else, we're both just have a mic and our laptops, and creating a video, and webinars were shown and proven that that's one of the top number one. That wasn't the high quality produced YouTube videos, but it is those videos like that. Facebook Live, there's Instagram video, all the videos that are out there. So it's really good to hear someone else say that.
Yep. And that's a big change for today. And I think even this report, maybe just to add on that a little bit, it talks about just, lead capture can be just like a gated video. There can be some that could be a piece of what you offer as a resource, so you can have that kind of lead capture pop up that says, hey, we've got this, case study, this report, this product introduction, enter your name and email address to get the full details, see the video, hear the story. You go over there after they've submitted that, and then there is, content and a video. Go ahead, 12 times.
No, that goes with what you're saying. 12 times more lead when you use a like gate or email gate, an inbound practice. Is it backwards for you?
No, I see 12 times more leads.
Okay.
Yes, right there.
So 12 times more leads when you use that inbound marketing practice. So having landing page, like you talked about, getting an email in there to get that material, those resources, you're going to get 12 times more leads, is what the survey said, which is huge. I want 12 times more leads. Yeah.
Yep.
Email, they said that is for follow-up conversations to get leads. Email is still the number one. 77% email is the number one. It has dropped down from last year. It was 87% from last year. It's 77%. I think now, because people are getting more comfortable with using like social media channels to reach out back and forth as their email, but 77% still hold strong with email. Then again, social media, 47%, online ads, and then retargeting. Telemarketing's in here too, on the lower end.
Coming in at 41%.
41%, yeah.
Top channels used to drive leads. Again, email, SEO, social, telemarketing, online ads, and retargeting. Okay, interesting that retargeting is that low at this point. I'm not sure if that's by practice or by lack of people using it.
I think it's both. I think some people are using retargeting, but again, it's going after the masses versus their quality leads.
Yep.
What I found personally is working for me, for our clients, is using their customer list, creating a lookalike audience, and then also using their hot leads to only target the hot leads. Okay. And separating them. So we have within our CRM where it separates kind of lead scores. So I take the people with the top lead scores, and then I create a Facebook ad just with those email addresses and say, Facebook, find these people, and then create a lookalike audience.
Nice.
More people. And then with the Facebook pixel on there. And you know what's the best about it is that it's 14 cents per impression versus the Google, $14.
Yep.
Per click.
I mean, you just breezed through that quickly. I hope our audience didn't miss that. Maybe you want to just recap that strategy one more time, because that was powerful right there. Or how you're doing a couple multi-step process there.
Sure. So I'm taking the leads, the high quality leads from our inbound funnel.
Okay. And which means things on your website and people coming in. Yeah.
So we do have a system in place that helps give scores to higher leads, meaning that they've consumed more content, or they've visited the site often, or they are connected with us on other areas, or they've filled out more information. There can be different lead score criteria. So it's all according to the company and how they qualify leads. Okay. And then from that, we export that lead list, and then I create a Facebook ad. I've done video ads that have performed by far, hands down, way more than any other ad that I've done. And it doesn't have to be a talking head, but I've put captions in there, captions to play in the video when the video is playing. And then I send this to Facebook, and I said, Facebook, target this group of contacts. So I give them the email list and put it into the Facebook ad manager. And then you can create a lookalike audience. So when you create that ad, you do the lookalike audience with the video and the captions. That is most of the time, like right now, it is 14 cents per impression. And that's kind of been what it's around the clock with many clients has been about 14 cents versus the Google cost per click, and the clicks is about $14 literally. The more specific you get with Google, the more you pay. The more specific you get with Facebook, the less you pay, which is that's why I like Facebook ads so much. But that has definitely worked more than anything else for us for creating that lead gen. Of course, email and all the other things, but as far as paying for retargeting and for leads, Facebook has been hands down the number one for us and clients. I was surprised to see, in here that telemarketing was still on here, but I guess it does exist. I guess it would make sense, calling people if they've already asked for information, a follow-up call, whatever. But
to determine interest, I mean, that's kind of, that's a value. That can be tough, but it's
yeah. I do not like telemarketing calls. However, I do like if I've contacted a company and they're willing to follow up with me via a phone call. That I do like, because I like being able to talk to another person on the end of the phone and get a feel that they understand my business and all that. Okay, so conversion rates. B2B landing pages have a higher conversion rate than B2C landing pages. So on average, a good landing page for a B2B is 13.28%. And then a B2C, so business to consumer landing pages, are about 9.87%.
Okay.
So if you sell business to business, you have a higher conversion rate with using inbound marketing than if you are a business to consumer.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, you're going to get there. I love that statistic that's coming up, some of these on the pop-ups and sidebars and all that kind of thing. So
yeah. So real quick, I'll tell you the top industries that perform the very, very best with inbound marketing is professional services, media marketing companies, education companies, woohoo for my education clients, software companies, travel, and e-commerce. Okay. Very, very next thing. So the average pop-up conversion rate is 1%. Boo. However, when you use the other tools that we talked about for signing up for email, the pop-ups versus sidebars. So if you have a sidebar that comes in with the pop-up like the Waftio, it is 1,375% more effective. Just a little bit more than any other kind of opt-in. So
yeah. Well, and
huge.
I like that one. I think it's simple, but it's so forgotten. The one right before that, pop-ups used as content upgrades have been shown to average conversion rates as high as 70%.
Oh yeah,
okay? So,
that was my next page.
You can just because you have a pop-up doesn't mean you're using it well. But here, pop-up is a content upgrade here. I mean, that's people are hungry for that, and they will take advantage of that. And then, like you said, I mean, pop-ups versus sidebars, no comparison.
Yeah. Sorry,
but that's the key, folks. If you're listening out there, is that what's the value you're adding? A content upgrade. I like that term. I haven't really heard about that. We talk about that's what a white paper is. A content upgrade.
Yeah, we call it edutainment. We've kind of adapted that terminology, edutainment, entertaining and educating. But I like what you said, how they're calling it an upgrade. So if you like this, you're gonna love this. And taking them from here.
Here's more.
Yep. If you like this, you're going to love that. And that is using the inbound flow too. You know, that's what separates the leads from the marketing qualified to the sales qualified, because they're continually moving down the funnel. I like the comment on here. I don't pay for ads. Is that a crime? No, it's not a crime. Absolutely not. You don't have to pay for ads at all. There's a lot of our clients that don't pay for ads at all. They rather create organic reach and organic content that is going to drive those results. And as we found out from this report, that is what works more than anything else. But if you want speed and double down on getting those leads to promote your content that's working, you know, the ads do help, especially on Facebook, because Facebook is one that you almost do have to pay to play anymore to get really good results from it. You have to double down on the content that's working to get good reach, or you have to be really good, and you can do both, really, really, really good at getting some evangelists to help promote your content for you.
Right. Yep.
So, wow, this hour went fast. I'll hurry. Okay. So, biggest barriers to success is that that marketers and businesses don't feel like they can currently tie their ROI to they have no reports. They don't know how to tie their ROI to their marketing efforts. They don't have a sophisticated or a smart system in place to tell them what's working, what's not, or the resources. So it kind of goes back to the system and the resources. That is the biggest barrier to them improving their sales and marketing process. Yeah. They said that 61% said it was really lack of resources, 42% said lack of good data from the CRM, like we're talking about, and 38% of lack of insights. So that goes back again to having a CRM, what we talked about a few weeks ago. So I feel like we predicted the future a little bit, Mike, with this that came out yesterday.
I think that, you know, when you were talking about some of these things, I thought, you know, when we were talking about the merging of sales and marketing and how you have to think this way, I was like, you know, you and I have been born for such a time as this because it flows naturally. This is just
everything that we've done blabs on before. Has covered exactly what's in this report. We didn't write this report at all. It's done by Wishpond. I'll put the link in there, but Wishpond. It just came out yesterday. It is the state of inbound. I always like to read theirs and Social Media Examiner and HubSpot's reports. Those three reports will sum up everything that's going on in marketing and tell you what's working and what's not. But that's good. Well, our new title is, Mike, our marketing forecasters.
Yeah, that's what the Magna markers are. We're talking about what's current today and what's going to come. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, hey, folks, you got to come on over to our Facebook page and group then. Mm-hmm. So you want to, should we drive them there? They can
I'll put the link
part
in
of
here.
The group, so they always know the details then as well.
Yes, we just set up this Facebook page. We had a Facebook group, but we were creating a page to get ready for when Facebook rolls out the 2-person live streaming. So you don't even have to leave Facebook. You'll be able to have it right there. But we will have the schedule of our events here. We will have all things that are replay videos, content to support kind of the videos to help you in your marketing journey. And then what's great about that is that there's a messaging field right there that is turned on. So if you ever need to get in touch with us or have questions, it's right there on that Facebook page. We'd love to have you hop on over and join us there.
All right.
So For next week, we will be diving in right here on Blab again, but we are going to go back to our subject that we did have planned, which is how to create a social media communications plan. We kind of bumped this back in the schedule because this report had just came out. We felt that it was timely and really important to go over it, so we put that in place for today. But this is linked to next week. Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Blab. So,
yep, and we guarantee you that we will weave in how lead generation can fit into that social media communications plan, like tying it into this type of stuff here. That's the way we work.
Absolutely. All right, I just want to make sure I didn't miss any questions. No one knows where. Thank you, I appreciate that. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys all for being part of today's show. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. And don't forget, become a magnet versus being a bullhorn with your marketing. So thank you guys for watching. Mike, thank you again for your time and have a good week.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Later on.
See ya.